Thanks for joining me again today in Yeti Kitchen. Today we're making a lamb osso buco. Let's begin by preheating the oven to 325 before we start prepping our ingredients. We'll start with the carrots. You kind of want a smaller dice. Or if you're not feeling dicey, you can always cut them in half circles and chop them that way. What a weird shape, eh? Huh. Just a quick chop will do. We are going to be braising these, so there's no need to be perfect. Next up, we got the onions. Any kind of onion works. These are just ones that I got fresh grown. You can always use Maui onions, are the more popular one. You just want a simple dice. Again, just same thing with the carrots. Doesn't really matter, it'll be cooked down into the sauce. Next up, we got the celery stacks. Again, very simple cut. Next up, we got parsley. I'm using flat leaf. You can use the traditional Italian kind. Either way, we're just going to give it a rough chop. It will be cooked down into the sauce. Next up, we got our lamb shanks. Bone in, of course. You just want to give it a generous drizzle of olive oil and a generous helping of salt and pepper. More generous on the salt half. And you just want to give it a good rub in. Just want to make sure you wipe up all that delicious seasoning from the plate and just make sure you get it in all the nooks and crannies. Now we're going to heat up our Dutch oven with some olive oil and just get it nice and hot for a good sear. And what we're looking for here is just to get that nice brown color all around the lamb. Seal in those juices nice. They are slippery little buggers. You don't have to, but I like to sear the top of it too. When you think that they're good enough, just pull them out and we're ready to create our braising solution. Add our onions, just until they're a bit translucent. And here I'm going to add in some garlic. You don't need to chop it or mince it. You could just crush it up and just throw it in whole. Again, we're braising these. Next up, we're going to add our celery and our carrots. Add in our thyme and our rosemary, including your bay leaves or any other sort of aromatics that you're going to add. I also added a half teaspoon of allspice. You want to give it a good mix and cook it down together until we get some caramelization. It unfortunately turns out that I lost the footage of me adding the red wine to deglaze, so we're just going to cut right to it. I added 3 cups of red wine to deglaze. As you're deglazing, you just want to make sure you're rubbing that bottom part, get all that nice flavor off the bottom of the pan. I would also be tasting and seasoning throughout. Once it's cooked down enough, we're going to add our stock. I used 3 1/4 cups of beef stock. I'd recommend using lamb if you have it. Now we're just going to snug them in nice and cozy. You want to make sure the bone is in the solution, because that's where you're getting a lot of the flavor from the marrow. Bring it up to a boil. Add our parsley, and add a can of tomatoes. I chose to add cherry tomatoes. I would recommend San Marzanos. And we're just going to bring that up to a boil a second time. Now let's cover that up. We're going to get it in the oven for a good 3 hours. Maybe less if you have a better oven. And when we do finish, we're going to get something that looks like this. At this point, you want to remove the lamb. It's well braised and it's fallen apart. Now we're just going to reduce the sauce down, make it a bit thicker and velvety. I would recommend adding some butter at some point. I didn't, but I believe it would make the sauce a lot better. Now we're ready to plate. I'm using stuffing as my side, because I have a lot of leftovers from Thanksgiving. And there we have it, lamb osso buco. Thank you so much for joining me today in Yeti Kitchens. I know I've been away for a while, I've been dealing with some personal stuff, but if you're enjoying the content, leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. If you can't get enough of my voice or my mug, you can always join my Twitch. Over there I have watch parties, play games, and sometimes cook live recipes. You can come over there and hang out.